There's a lot of talk with buyers at the moment about that, but I think ultimately, no, we're still agreeing a lot of sales.
Megan, thank you for joining me for our monthly update. So we're October 2025. We're filming a little bit later in the month because our man behind the camera went on holiday, but so about midway through the month. It means we can reflect though a little bit more on October's results and figures so far. So we normally start off with how asking prices are heading, where they're heading. Numbers from Rightmove suggest that we've got a slight uptick in asking prices. Last month when I was here with Matt, we said about the seasonal slowdown that we typically see in September, people pricing their properties a bit more competitively. We're now seeing them creeping back up again. Is that what you're seeing currently at the moment?
Yeah, there is definitely a couple of homeowners that are wanting to price that a little bit higher. I think they're still very much taking our advice, but I would say people are open to testing the market a little bit at the moment.
And again, last month we talked about these potential tax changes, policy changes. At the time there wasn't any reaction that we'd seen. Still, we seem to have no reaction. So Rightmove, they've obviously got a really wide data set and they've not noticed any reaction from these potential policy changes. Are you having anything like that locally? There's
a lot of talk with buyers at the moment about that, but I think ultimately, no, we're still agreeing a lot of sales. We've still got a lot of really positive conversations that are happening on viewings, so it's not had that much of an impact at this time that we've seen. Certainly not September and early October, still been really busy. Okay, fantastic.
And then the other thing is the Bank of England base rate. So they decided to hold again, so we're at 4% still. The kind of industry news that we get trickle through suggests that maybe mortgage borrowing is going up a little bit, the cost of it. Rates are up ever so slightly, but we've still got to remember that they're far lower than they were a year ago, and the availability of mortgages is still really positive, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. There is a lot of competitiveness within the mortgage market. Rates have, like you say, gone up a little bit, but I think we're now back in that kind of plateau. They're going to shift up, they're going to shift down a little bit. Best thing to do, have a chat with a mortgage broker, understand what that means for you at the moment. But like you say, they are much lower than they were a year ago, which is still very positive.
Absolutely. And given we're kind of mid-October, we probably need to start talking about the Christmas period and November, December. We often get asked, don't we, should people put their property on the market now if they're thinking about it, or should they wait to the new year? I'd like to get your thoughts on what is the right approach to that.
I think ultimately it comes down to you as an individual and your circumstances. If you've seen a property that you want to buy and you're really motivated, then what we are seeing in that lead up to Christmas is we've got the most motivated buyers. There are a few less buyers in the market as we approach that traditional Christmas period, but you're going to tap into that kind of smaller range. If you've got something that is a bit more unique perhaps, or if you want to think about making a move but you've not necessarily seen something and you're still in that kind of 50-50 mindset, then perhaps waiting until New Year when you do get that influx of buyers again may be the right decision for you. However, something to remember of course is in the new year you do get a launch of a whole new host of properties as well, so it really depends what your situation is, what type of property you've got, and ultimately I think what would be really beneficial is have a chat with us, invite one of our valuers out to meet with you. We can have a full discussion about what we're seeing in the market strategy for your home, and then we can help guide you to make the right decision for yourself.
Yeah, there are there's pros and cons to both, aren't there? You know, if you go November, December, there's typically fewer stock that has come on. So, and we know at the moment that the availability of stock is high, and that is making it more difficult for homeowners to attract a buyer. So you're going to have less competition for your property, but fewer buyers at the same time. So it's that balancing act, and then obviously in the new year. And we often do a new year launch, don't we?
Yes.
So do you want to just talk us through how that works? What that if someone was going to hold off over November, December, what would that look like for the New Year launch?
Absolutely. So one of the great things with that is we can get your home market prepared now. So before all of your Christmas decorations go up, hopefully in between your Halloween decks coming down and your Christmas decks going up, so that you're not then going on Rightmove with your Christmas tree up in your lounge. We can get everything collated, ready to boost in that new year. I think that works a lot better than perhaps the Boxing Day launch that you often see a lot of agents talking about, because Boxing Day, everyone's sat at home, no one's in work, no one's inquiring about having a viewing, and people are ultimately just sat there slumped after their Christmas meal.
Just on that, so the Boxing Day launch, that was very much something that the portals, so Rightmove, Zoopla, they really pushed that as something. And that was all off the back of that's when they have the highest amount of traffic.
Yes.
So their theory was this is when you've got the most kind of eyes looking at properties on our website, and so that must mean that that's a good time to advertise. What we found, and we stopped doing a Boxing Day launch many years ago, and we found that the New Year launch has been far more successful, is those eyes that they've got are just people that are just having a flick through, aren't
Absolutely.
they? If you look at all major websites, you know, a news website or something like that, social media, they all see a spike because people are typically at home and they need something to do. Whereas in the new year, those people are motivated, and also they've typically had those conversations that they need to have about what are we going to do, are we going to find somewhere, what's our budget going to be like, what area are we looking, so we get a far better reaction, and we're actually slowly seeing other agents start to copy our New Year launch and favour that because it is so successful. When we look at the number of sales we generate then, it's far better. One thing I also just thought I'd give people some context in terms of the sale numbers, so that they can have an understanding. When we say the market slows down, how does it compare month by month? So I've got last year's numbers. So September, we talk about that slowdown in sales because of school holidays and things like that. So last year across all of our branches for all agents, so this is everyone added up, there are 182 sales in September. In October, when we then see that surge, it goes up to 241, so real noticeable jump up there. October, it slows down a little bit, 204, and then December, 130. So almost half of the sales that we would see generated in October. And then back into January, 206. So obviously there's going to be things that like mortgage rates and what happens with policy changes, but we do see those months slow down, so it is worth getting that advice, really speaking to us. So on that, if someone wanted that advice, how do they get in touch with us?
Call our office, email us, we'll pop you a call as soon as we're available to have a chat, take a couple of details, and then we'll arrange a suitable time to pop over, meet with you, have a look around your property and have a chat about what we can do to help get you moved.
Great. Thanks, Megan. Thanks for joining me.